Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. At Mint Mobile, we like to do the opposite of what Big Wireless does. They charge you a lot, we charge you a little. So naturally, when they announced they'd be raising their prices due to inflation, we decided to deflate our prices due to not hating you. That's right. We're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
7 things you don't really need to know, but probably should. I'm Ciara Ryven, and this is the Sunday 7.
On today's episode of the award-winning Sunday 7, we investigate the traumatic turbulence that left a passenger dead on a Singapore Airlines flight. We catch up on Microsoft's new plan to tackle Apple. We get a warning about Asian hornets and sample a new spoon that helps to reduce your salt. But first, it was on this day in 1981 that a man called Satya received a patent for a computer software program he called Swift Answer. It allowed users to retrieve information in a human-like manner as the program responded based on the most likely answer regardless of whether the user made mistakes in spelling or grammar. It sounds like a very early version of today's AI. There was an incident this week on a Singapore Airlines flight that made headlines around the world. A Boeing 777 on its way from London to Singapore hit a pocket of turbulence over the Andaman Sea, which saw the plane plunge 6,000 feet in the space of about 3 minutes. It was an horrific experience for the passengers. One 73-year-old British man died of an apparent heart attack, while dozens were injured, some quite severely, as the plane dropped out of the sky. 6 Britons are amongst 20 people who remain in intensive care in Bangkok, where the plane landed. And they're suffering from both head injuries and spinal injuries as they appear not to have been wearing their seatbelts when the event happened. CEO of Singapore Airlines, Goh Chong Pong, has offered his sincere apologies for the incident to the 211 passengers and 18 crew.
We're deeply saddened by this incident. It has resulted in 1 confirmed fatality and multiple injuries. On behalf of Singapore Airlines, I would like to express my deepest condolences to the family and loved ones of the deceased. We are very sorry for the traumatic experience that everyone on board SQ321 went through.
Passenger Dzafran Azmir spoke to Reuters and described what it was like on the plane.
I saw people from across the aisle just like going completely horizontal, hitting the ceiling and landing back down in like really awkward positions, people getting massive gashes in their head, concussions. It was really, really quick. Which is why, like, I think nobody could really respond to it. The plane starts shaking, and at that point, like, I just know that, okay, well, I'm just gonna, like, huddle in, but, like, it kept getting worse and worse and worse. I didn't understand at all the full scale of what happened until we landed. Like, I didn't realize the things that broke within the airplane, the dents that were made in the overhead, like, luggage compartments, and all the additional kind of paneling above our heads. Like, I thought it was just the oxygen masks coming out and then popping out the panel, but in fact, like, heads had literally pushed through and broken those plastic panels, and there's blood and there's bits and pieces just broken everywhere.
It's highly unusual for an event of this severity to occur, but there has been a rise in the level of turbulence, with a study from Reading University suggesting that climate change has helped to drive a 55% increase in turbulence over the last 40 years. Julian Bray is an aviation expert, and he says there's only one solution to stay safe on board.
Normally, aircraft fly over clouds and around storms and away from bad weather areas, but unfortunately it does happen. You do get these sudden pockets, and you have to admit there's been some very strange weather events around the world lately, but it does underline the fact that if you do fly on aircraft today, because of the changing climate, weather conditions and everything else, you should actually keep your seatbelt on.
This week saw Microsoft do a big launch of its new AI-powered laptop range called Copilot Plus. The aim is to put AI into all of Microsoft's laptops thanks to a new neural processor that will allow their machines to run significantly faster. We'll hear from Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella later in the episode about his plan to properly challenge Apple at the top end of the market. But one of their new features has already caused controversy. Let's check in with our resident tech guru, a man powered by old-fashioned espressos, Will Guyatt. So, Will, why are Microsoft taking Apple on head on?
In the world of tech, this is pretty big news because for the first time since the 1980s, it would appear that PCs might be dumping chips from Intel to embrace artificial intelligence and get the edge on Apple and other companies. This first next-gen Copilot Plus PC uses processors from Snapdragon, and they're a business best known for making top-end chips for smartphones. This is all about the battle for AI supremacy on computers. If Google, Samsung and Apple can tie up who is using what on their devices, Microsoft still has big control of the PC market thanks to its Windows operating system. These new computers all have something called a neural processor unit installed. This is specialized kit designed to speed up AI and machine learning applications. This move from Microsoft is predominantly about ensuring their new Copilot AI software powered by ChatGPT is able to proliferate, but also encourage others that Microsoft's devices are powerful enough for them to use AI in their businesses, helping them to work on their own uses of the tech.
And they're already facing a data watchdog investigation over one new feature. Is that right?
Given 2024 is the year of big tech versus lawyers, imagine my surprise when one of Microsoft's supposed features of its Copilot Plus AI-enabled devices is called Recall, and it's got the ability to search through all of your past activity on your device, including your files, your photos and your browsing history. But to augment this, it's taking screenshots of your desktop every few seconds and analysing those too. Now this is a new level of oversight, and despite Microsoft promising the user has full control over it, there's loads of privacy questions around this, like whether Microsoft has the rights to capture your image if you pop up on a video call with somebody using a Copilot Plus device.
Who thought letting AI screen grab your machine was a good idea?
Well, we can't blame Bill Gates anymore because he's far away from running Microsoft these days, but the product team will have done this to greatly improve search from a results perspective and likely not considered the fallout until privacy campaigners worldwide have looked at this and gone, well, no thanks.
We also saw something brand new this week. Marvel teaming up with Apple to make specific content for the Vision Pro. What's it about?
Well, this is pretty cool for the small number of folk in the US and a couple of nerds in the UK who've spent thousands on the Vision Pro and have been waiting for new experiences. This is the first release from Marvel Studios, and it places you directly into their What If cartoon series. This is the place of alternative Marvel universes. Imagine Rishi Sunak becoming Iron Man or something like that. And it's like an hour-long episode of the show where you interact through augmented reality with characters on screen to advance through the experience, just like you're the Hulk, I think. And if you're interested in getting a Vision Pro, keep on saving your money, and you're probably going to get a chance to buy one in the UK before Christmas, but it's going to cost over $3,000.
And finally, this is something I can relate to. The perils of autocorrect. I've been called Kirin. I'm sure someone's autocorrected you to wild iguana. Well, now there's a new campaign called I'm Not a Typo. So what's going on with those who have unusual names?
Those behind the campaign reckon that 4 out of 10 names of babies born in England and Wales in 2021 were also deemed wrong or not accepted when tested on Microsoft's English dictionary in Word 2. So this looks like it's a fairly widespread problem across tech. Now, the big tech companies have yet to comment.
Still to come on the Sunday 7, terrifying new uses for AI in Gaza and a spoon that cuts down on your salt. The war in Gaza has been a brutal event which has seen over 30,000 people killed and massive destruction of property and infrastructure. And while the war in Ukraine saw drones come to the fore, the war in Gaza has seen AI weapon systems become part of the Israeli army's arsenal. From AI-assisted sights on weapons, which make shooting down drones easier, to predictive AI systems that have been used to explore the Hamas tunnel systems under Gaza, AI has taken an increasingly important role in the conflict. The Guardian reported that the IDF's targeting of possible Hamas members using an AI system called the Gospel to select targets and then bomb them, including private homes. Brian Finucane is a senior advisor at the International Crisis Group, and he says now that AI is involved in weapons systems, it may be difficult to roll it back.
Other countries observed how drones were used in Ukraine, and I think there has been a notable proliferation. And so, yes, we could see a similar path where other countries acquire these technologies, artificial intelligence technologies. And then the question is, will they be used consistent with the law of war? And again, we've got, based on the destruction in Gaza since October, there's serious questions to be asked about whether that's been the case in Gaza itself. I think that the prospects of the world as a whole saying no to these technologies and their use in weapon systems is pretty slim. I don't think you're going to find international consensus to join a sort of binding prohibition or treaty banning these weapons.
The United Nations has also called on all countries to stop using AI systems in this way, as it is effectively impossible to be sure that they will comply with the agreed international human rights law. Anwar Mhajne is a US cybersecurity expert, and she says the UN resolution doesn't seem to have had any impact on the Israeli Defence Forces so far, and that the implications around the data that the AI uses to make decisions could be far-reaching.
What is happening in Gaza is going to be used as a marketing strategy for a lot of these companies, weapons companies, private companies, to sell these weapons to other countries around the world. Axon Vision is already talking about that. And they're talking about how they're testing these technologies, they're trying to get interest for the use of these technologies globally. We know that the way these AI systems kind of make decisions, they gather a lot of data. Some of it is based on intelligence reports, historical databases, but also some of it comes from open source, from Google Images, from social media posts. And I know we're talking about Israel right now and the military use of AI, but it's bigger than that, because it implicates private companies like Google, Meta, and other social media companies and companies that are helping, produce clouds and other important elements for the AI system. They are implicated in what's happening in Gaza.
There's been a growing focus on the health dangers posed by salt. Health experts have been calling for the inclusion of a salt substitute, which is a low sodium and potassium enriched salt, into new hypertension guidelines. That's because both high sodium and low potassium can lead to a greater risk of high blood pressure, heart disease and strokes. And the Asian diet in particular tends to have high levels of salt, something that scientists have been working to address. Professor Homei Miyashita from Meiji University is one of the co-inventors of an intriguing solution, a battery-powered spoon that uses a low-voltage electric current to highlight the salt flavours in your food as you eat.
When you're eating low-salt food, some of that sodium comes into contact with your tongue, but not all. So we use an electric current to attract the sodium to the tongue. Once you do that, lots of sodium is drawn to the tongue and gives the impression of a saltier flavour.
The intention is to trick your body into using less salt in dishes, which is a particular issue in Japan, where average salt consumption is 10 grams a day, double the recommended amount. The low salt spoon has been developed by Japanese drinks giant Kirin, and Sato is one of the researchers who worked on the project.
Overall, Japanese people need to reduce their salt intake, but it can be very hard to change the diet we're used to. We created this electric salt tool so they can adjust their salt intake and get used to lighter tasting meals.
Still to come on the Sunday 7, Microsoft gets ready for an Apple showdown, and Tom and Tim get some moon chat going.
Right after this.
Life is full of what-ifs. Some awesome, like what if AI could fold your laundry? And some, well, less awesome, like what if you have unexpected medical costs? United Healthcare can help get you covered with Health Protector Guard fixed indemnity insurance plans. They supplement your primary plan to help you manage out-of-pocket costs. No deductibles, no enrollment periods, and especially no more what-ifs. Visit uh1.com to find the Health Protector Guard plan for you.
Welcome back.
This week saw Microsoft host their developer event and announce a series of upgrades for their existing models, including the Surface Pro, and a major jump into AI with a new upgrade of their system called Copilot. CEO Satya Nadella says the new Surface Pro has faster runtimes and better battery life, but it's the upgrades in Copilot and its potential that's really got him excited.
We are adding not just large language models, but we're also leading the small language model revolution. We're introducing real-time intelligence in Fabric. What Copilot did for coding, we're now doing for infra and ops. We're also extending Copilot beyond a personal assistant to become a team assistant.
As we heard earlier, one of the new features, Recall, which captures screenshots every few seconds, is already causing controversy, and leaning so far into AI seems to have a certain amount of risk attached. The Microsoft CEO says he thinks the whole name artificial intelligence has confused people as to what exactly it's supposed to do.
I don't like anthropomorphizing AI. I sort of believe it's a tool. It is got intelligence, if you want to give it that moniker, but it's not the same intelligence that I have, right? I think one of the most unfortunate names is artificial intelligence. I wish we had called it different intelligence even.
And it sounds like he's got a clear target in mind. Microsoft are determined to catch up and even pass out Apple as the name for high-end computing. So with new faster chips and the neural processor, does he really think they can catch up?
Finally, we now have the best ARM processors, which are really the performance of the CPU itself is cutting edge. Then you combine it with the NPU and these experiences. I think we are now going to start, just like, when it comes to the cloud. We came from second and became a leader in the AI age on the cloud. I hope on the PC we bring good competition. I mean, Apple's done a fantastic job. We now want to bring real competition back to the Windows versus Mac when it comes to the AI age.
Tom Hanks is a busy man, from acting to supporting Aston Villa. There's nothing he can't turn his hand to. He's also a passionate advocate for space travel, falling in love with it as a boy. And now he's turned that passion into a remarkable exhibition, which is currently running at King's Cross in London. It's called The Moonwalkers, and Hanks narrates the immersive experience, which gives you a glimpse of what life might be like on the surface of the moon. He popped up on Radio 2 this week with real-life UK astronaut Tim Peake, and the two got deep into space chat.
Tim, this is a big question I have, because I don't think it's ever been answered by any of the astronauts, and some of them the Apollo astronauts. Okay, you're on the night side. Okay, are the stars brighter? Do you see the deep infinite of the time-space continuum when you're in darkness in Earth orbit?
So in Earth orbit, I found that the stars seemed clearer and sharper. I'm not sure they were that much brighter, but just the clarity without having to see
They don't blink.
Earth's
They don't
atmosphere.
blink.
Yeah,
right.
so you're not getting the twinkling that's caused by our atmosphere.
Could you get a sense of the galaxy? Could you get a sense?
Oh, completely. Completely. When the Milky Way rises over the horizon, it's a jaw-dropping moment.
Summertime in the garden means the gentle buzzing of bees, the sound of a distant dog barking, and next door's kids fighting over who gets to go next on the slide. But we're being warned that this summer we need to keep our eyes and ears open for the terrifying sound of Asian hornets. Well, I say terrifying, but they're not really a threat to humans. They're certainly pretty concerning for honeybees. That's why the UK's Environment Department is asking the public to be alert and report any sightings so they can swing into action. Wiltshire farmer and beekeeper Stephen Auty told GBM that it's a huge concern, and so they've actually developed Asian hornet traps.
As beekeepers and bee farmers, we're really concerned, because if this insect gains hold, then our beekeepers and our pollinators across the country will be at risk. We've deployed this selective trap to trap the emerging queens in the spring. That way, if we do find them in the area, we'll know they're here and we can send the evidence off to the government for analysis.
The trap is actually quite a sophisticated system put together by the University of Exeter using AI, and it's intended to draw the hornet's queen in so that scientists can capture her and head off a swarm before it even starts. Ian Campbell from the Beekeepers Association says we need to be vigilant.
This species, the yellow-legged Asian hornet Vespa velutina, has been spreading through France for the last 20 years. It's in about 14 European countries now. It's also starting to establish in the States. Last year in the UK, we had a higher number of nests found than ever before. There were 72 nests found, especially in the southeast of England, in Kent and East Sussex. They are a threat to bees in badly affected areas of France. It's estimated that around 30% of the bee population will be effectively killed by the hornets, either directly or indirectly. It's a species we could do without. It's a threat that bees don't need.
This has been the Sunday 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. with the regular Smart 7. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Written, produced and published by Daft Doris.
Witness history at Roland Garros, where old rivalries meet new talent on the clay battleground. Tennis Channel Plus is your place to watch. Stream every court from your phone or smart TV live in HD. Experience 3 weeks of unparalleled access as the world's top players in tennis face off to see if the veterans maintain their dominance or if a fresh face rises to challenge them. Daily live coverage of the French Open begins Monday, May 20th. Stream it now with Tennis Channel Plus to be there when it happens.